the tournament joke. But anyway, which 5 players do you pick to represent the whole of the NA region? Like, what is the NA dream team? Who enters that intergalactic tournament?
Yeah, let me think about this. I'm thinking it out now. I'm just trying to think about what is my support players for this team. Okay. I think I know who I would have. Let me just think who the 5th one would be. Okay, I would start with Skadoodle because I think he's the best NA player. Now, admittedly, that's with the caveat that the guy has failed every single major he's played in, 6 out of the 7 majors. So that's not a great sign, but I do kind of feel like that's also to do with his teams as well. Like, it's a dual problem. So maybe if we get him on the right team, we can get that out of him. So I have to start with the strongest player. So I'll have Skadoodle. He's my AWPer. He's my star player. There we go. And also, just in general, I noticed about Skadoodle and Shroud. Once Cloud9 got really good, I was watching their games a lot, and I was watching what they did in matches. And I noticed a lot of how Shroud's games went were based just essentially on how well Freakazoid did. Like, either on CT, everyone's run into his crosshair and he sat at a site, or on T side, Freakazoid did really good entry work, and then Shroud just picked up all the kills from that. So I think Shroud's numbers are a little bit inflated as a result. And so as a result, to me, of the two, it's actually Skadoodle's the real star. I think Skadoodle's the one you can plug and play in most teams, and he'll be really good anyway. So I'll go with Skadoodle. But the reason why I put that caveat in is I wouldn't have Shroud in this team. And for that reason, exactly, I think the team has to be based around him. I think he can be good, but I'm still not sure how it would work, because actually I've noticed in a lot of the big tournaments, he was really good in ESL, ESEA, but other than that, he's had a bunch of tournaments where he's been a bit lackluster. He's had an entire map where he just did nothing. I mean, there was a game at the major where he had 7 kills. I mean, that can't happen if you're a star player, you know. So
I don't think of him as a star player, actually. I think there's a big difference between a standout player and a star player. Star players get shit done every game. That's a star fucking player. Michael Jordan's a star fucking player. You know what I mean? Karl Malone is a star fucking player.
Again, reference point all from the 90s, of course.
Utah Jazz, everybody. Yeah, Johnny Stockton, yo. Anyway, point being, these are motherfuckers that turn up and get shit done every fucking game. Even when their team's getting wrecked, they have a good level of performance. That's what a star player does. Now, I haven't seen that from Shroud. Like,
the thing with him is he really is the guy who has the fantastic skills and certainly has the talent to be a star. I just don't think his game at the moment is fit to be a star. Like, if anything, he plays more like kind of the 3rd best player you'd have on a team. Like, the dream would be you'd have Shroud as your 3rd best player. He would just statically sit in sites, do his job, get his kills, and he wouldn't need to be the star. And therefore, every time he did contribute a big game, he'd put you over the top and he'd wreck teams, you know. Instead, he has to be one of the main stars with Skadoodle, and so that's where I think their problem comes in. So the reason I'm putting that caveat of this, I don't have Shroud on my list, actually. I'm going to have Skadoodle as my main player. Second player, I'm going to pick Hiko. He might still not be at his Pika level, but he's still pretty good at the moment. And he's a clutch player. You see that? I mean, the guy's clutch. He just does it all the time, man. He comes in 1v2s, 1v3s. He gets it done. He's a really clutch player. Great lurker. So he's going to be my lurker role. It's just a guy where I think he also, compared to a lot of the other players, has like a good level of self-confidence. Like, he doesn't seem to choke very often, whereas some of these other guys do. So there's my first 2. Then I'm going to go with Nitro. Obviously someone where he's been quite a... in the past, people would say quite inconsistent, but I think it was more that he just didn't show up a lot of the time in the past. But I think he started to fix that. I've noticed he's the person who I think has benefited the most from this shake-up they had in Team Liquid, where they put Hiko in and they changed the roles around. Now suddenly he is really aggressive. Like, in that NIP game, he played really well. He was rushing in there with an AK. He was getting entry kills. He was putting them in a position where they had a chance to win the match. It wasn't his fault that they lost. So I'll have Nitro there. I think as long as he's in the right team, he's going to be a really good player. We've already got the static AWPer Skadoodle. We've already got the lurker Hiko. So I need some aggressive players now. So I'm going to take Nitro there. Now, here's the surprising one. People are going to be like, yeah, but what are you going to do for in-game leader? Now, here's the interesting one. I wouldn't take Sean Gares because he's clearly got some massive issues at the moment in Cloud9. In theory, he's got pieces in Cloud9 he's not able to use. And I've heard repeatedly throughout the 2015 this comment of like, maybe he'll retire, maybe he'll coach. If someone doesn't want to be in the game 100%, I wouldn't take him. Like, I wouldn't trust that guy now. So very good in-game leader at times, but I don't like that as a factor. So I'm actually going to take Cutler from CLG, because what's funny is in CLG, I think Cutler actually has fucked his own game up, because by becoming the in-game leader and making FNS just a lurker, he's now less effective individually. And so the problem is in his team, since Tarek isn't some superstar player, they need more. But I think in this team I've got all this mad skill already, so I don't need a lot of talent. So therefore, he'd probably be quite good as this consistent in-game leader who's going to play supportive roles, and then I need one more. I need a fifth player. So here's the thing. For the fifth player, I'm going to go against all the stuff the NA players say, and forgetting his personality, I'm going to actually take Roka, because I think there's a really good aggressive entry fragger. I think he could be good. People say that he's another guy where, you know, his mind maybe isn't for the game, isn't so good and whatnot. But I think if you pair him with Nitro, so Nitro has someone to go in with. I've got like my middle players, I've got my defensive players, I've got my aggressive players. I think this would be a good mix. Obviously, maybe the personalities will be a mess, and I don't know that, but that's who I'd put as my 5. And anyone who doesn't like it can just pop another Adderall.
I mean, I gotta say, there's some crazy picks in there. I think